Okay, welcome back to another Let's Talk on the WWE 2K22 setup launch. Well, this one's going to be another ringside report. I did skip the ringside report number 2. It was on my GM. I don't have a lot of history with GM mode, so I just figured I'll just skip that. Let a lot of the people talk about it. That's probably played that game mode a lot more than me. But yeah. This one, though, 2K Showcase and My Rise Deep Dive, Ringside Report number 3. This one is right down my alley. So I'm always doing the career mode in WWE games. It's probably the first thing I actually jump in is the career mode a lot of times, because that is something that I that is the bread and butter. The reason, the essence of why I love the sim game so much is that I can jump in the ring and go for the WWE Championship, but also there is always that story mode that goes along with it. There's the whole journey that you get along the way. So let's jump into this. It's a 15 minutes, 14 and a half minute long video. So without further ado, let's jump into this and check out the ringside report number 3. I'm going to make myself a little bit bigger, and here we go. I will be pausing along the way too, just like I did the
What's
first
up, everybody?
one.
It's your boy Lionel Jinx. I'm the creative
Whenever I have
director
like
of the
thoughts and
WWE 2K
want
franchise.
say it.
Hey y'all, I'm Christina DMFam, senior
Hello,
producer
hello,
on
hello.
WWE 2K22, and welcome to Ringside Report Episode 3, brought
Nice.
to y'all by the teams at 2K and Visual Concepts.
Okay.
Now, if you've missed the first 2 episodes of the Ringside Report and gameplay and my GM, click the link below this video to check it out. In the meantime,
You can also go back and check
Sam
my
and
video
are
out where I
here
did
to
Let's
provide
Talk on it.
updates and deep dives into many areas and features of the WWE 2K game that we've been working on for so long, guys.
It's like 3 years
We'll hear
going
from
on.
both Lionel and myself on a regular basis through the game's launch on March 11th, and then
Myself a
also
little more volume.
afterwards too for the latest on
There we
DLC,
go.
patches, other game updates, and more. And once again, we're not doing this alone because we're bringing the homies from the dev team with us.
Noise.
So let's get right to it.
Bring in the homies.
All right, so in today's
Right.
episode, we're covering 2 things. Showcase and My Rise, starting with Showcase. And by now, it's no secret to y'all that Rey Mysterio is both our cover and Showcase star. So we want to spend some time
They got the
talking about
referee's
Rey,
face blurred
Showcase,
out?
and then some. So please
Funny.
join me in welcoming the man of these next
Must
few
be because the
minutes,
referee's
lead designer
no longer
on
with the company.
Showcase Mode, Dino Magino Zucconi.
Dino Machino.
What's up, everybody? So happy to be here. Let's talk some showcase, right?
I don't think you get any more
Oh, yeah.
Italian than
Thanks
that
for
name.
joining us. All right, Dino. So Showcase Mode itself is nothing new to the WWE
Wow.
2K franchise.
Wow,
But
look
for
at
this
that.
Cycle, there are some pretty cool specs to call out. I want
That's
you to talk
crazy.
about that.
That-
But then also, let's start with a refresher for those who
That
are less
old
familiar.
WCW arena.
What is
Damn.
Showcase Mode in 2K22?
You know, in the simplest form, showcase is where we pay homage to the rich history of sports entertainment.
Yes.
You know, whether it's the biggest matches, most intense rivalries, the greatest superstars of all time. This is where we're going to put you into those boots and you're going to relive those moments. We do it with an objective guided gameplay system, and the objectives kind of guide you through the match and we feed you into the cutscene where you're going to get even more action in each match.
Awesome. So
Real quick. So one of the coolest things I think in showcase mode, sometimes the audio isn't quite synced up with the action, but it's super hard getting everything synced up. But one of the coolest things that they do with showcase mode is they actually use the real audio from what happened that night. So whatever, if they go, I guess they go. It seems like anyways they go back in the audio vault that WWE has of all the recordings and whatnot, and they get some of the crowd reactions, they get some of the actual the superstars yelling stuff out. They're like Stone Cold Steve Austin's like, hell yeah, you'll hear that of the actual recording. It's not just from like a video or something. Like you'll actually hear him saying that, and I always love that. It's a little extra, especially when it's the crowd too. Like you get the crowd chants that they recorded from the arena that night, and they mix it in with the audio in the showcase mode. I always think it's one of those things that gives you goosebumps hearing the audio when you're actually like in the match doing the thing, and you hear that extra just like boom from the crowd. Love it. It's the little details that go so far. I always say that.
So if a player steps into these matches for the first time, they're going to see Rey Mysterio, obviously, but what can they expect throughout the mode?
So this year we did a lot of changes to a lot of our old tricks.
Halloween
basically.
Havoc.
We updated the UI for the objectives so that instead of kind of this do this move, we have Rey Mysterio.
The screen filters are there and everything from
next,
like the 90s screen filters.
You want to try to strategize with. We also updated the looks so that each menu kind of carries the color scheme of Rey Mysterio's attires for each match. So it changes with every single match.
That's one of the things. So WCW, if you go back and watch old WCW footage, you usually see the arenas, for whatever reason, they get very. It's probably just because it had so many people in just a cramped little arena that there's always the steam in the air, and that on top of that too is the 90s cameras, not having the highest of resolutions, but there was a certain look. You always know it's WCW footage because just the way the camera and the rooms kind of just there's so much hype and excitement and everything. Also, WCW used so much pyro that a lot of that smoke would get filtered out into the arena. But yeah, this looks great though. The Halloween Havoc arena, all these NWO shirts. Yeah, that was a big thing in WCW. You see a lot of NWO shirts. Eddie looking actually really, really cool. That's finally we get like something of a new attire for Eddie. Usually we just have the same colors over and over and over again. So that's really cool. This outfit is definitely one of Ray's more unique looks. A full body suit in WCW. Yeah. This was back when he was Rey Mysterio Jr., I do believe, or Ray Jr., if I remember right.
Like I mentioned, we have these full motion video cutscenes now instead of just the gameplay data. So you're going to see full motion video now. Go into your cutscenes, relive the action as it unfolded.
What? So they used the video for the mocap?
It's flawless. It's a flawless transition.
That's awesome.
We also have our rewards, like always. If you're winning the match,
no wonder why it looks so good.
But if you go and complete all of the objectives, we're also going to give you a few more. This was done just so we can make it that you're not getting stuck or hung up if you don't complete every single objective. You can come back and try again to get everything.
Very cool.
On another play.
Dino.
Because that's one of those things that would get very annoying if you're like, okay, how am I supposed to do this? And then there's some of those objectives that get very situational. So it's just like it holds you up from actually progressing through the showcase mode. And you're just like, God, I just want to get this done. No way. Or you do something and it's like objective failed because you pinned somebody instead of making them submit. And it's just like, come on. And then you have to do the whole match all over again. If there's like 12 different objectives and you have to do all that stuff because you missed this one objective, or you're trying to go through and you accidentally get pinned because you're trying to make this one specific spot in the match happen. So it sounds like they fixed that and it's not going to be as tedious to get through those objectives. That's good. That's a really good thing. Quality of life changes.
Hands down, one of the biggest wrestling fans I know. Now, I know like what this meant to you because you had the very unique opportunity to work with the man himself, Rey Mysterio.
Very cool.
Throughout this cycle.
Very
Can
cool.
you talk about and share with the world what that experience was like for you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is a bucket list item getting worked with Rey Mysterio. Absolute legend. I've been following him myself since 1995. I've watched him since WCW, ECW days, coming up to today. So, we on the showcase team pushed really hard to make Rey Mysterio our guy. We wanted to do a showcase on Rey. We felt like he was, the perfect dude. We get the attires, we get the.
Or he retired and went to another company or something. Yeah, that's.
It just seemed like the right pick. So
read between the lines right there a little bit.
He was down to do anything we asked. We had him doing cutscene commentary. He's telling you what he's thinking during these matches. He's telling you what he's thinking when Kane's attacking him, when Batista's coming after him. He was all for it. He was remembering what was happening leading into these matches. Had cool little stories. We gave him a really loose script so we could keep it as authentic as possible. And he did a great job filling in the gaps.
That's one of the things about Ray too. Every time he starts talking about older matches, he is just it's so much there. His memory is actually really well put together. He's just one of those, some of the guys back in the day, they were drinking a lot and everything. So there's a lot of them that are like, well, I can't exactly remember what happened in that match, but I do remember from the tapes. Ray's usually like right there. He has a very clear head and like oh yes, I hit this spot and we did that and I flew over here and then I remember Eddie being in the ring and Batista, he grabbed me and threw me over there and I was just like, whoa, you got to, I've heard you hear a lot of stories. Like Ray's one of those few guys that is just like he comes in with all kinds of details and he can paint this whole picture, and which is the reason why he's like one of the greatest ever, because he could paint such a great picture inside the ring too, which it seems like they are really capturing that of the storytelling inside the ring with this showcase. If they mix that with like the video mocap thing that they're doing with this and the audio, the actual like audio from the vaults, this could be a really really cool showcase. Also, Ray has had some of the biggest matches with some of the coolest roster members. So seeing the full roster reveal, that was one of those things where I'm like, yeah, a lot of that is Rey Mysterio influence, where we have a lot of these really really cool names showing up. Not everybody's loving the roster. I was going to make a separate video on that, but I'll just say, like, I think the roster is great for what it is. That's one of the biggest rosters we've seen. So anybody else, you can create them in the game, no problem, through community creations. People are going to end up creating, different companies of roster sets and everything, and we're going to have all the legends that might be missing. We also have DLC, which they're probably not going to talk about in this, so I'll just bring it up right now. We're going to definitely have some DLC coming out too. So this game has a ton of DLC, NWO and Undertaker, and the season pass DLC and all that stuff. We're going to see this roster expand. There's also people that have been possibly face scanned that could possibly end up in this too later on as like an update or something, because that was the other rumor stuff that was going around, is that this might actually have roster updates similar to like a UFC game. So if that's the case, who knows who's going to show up in the future? There's a lot of big potential for 2K22. It might not be realized. They might impress the hell out of us going forward. We don't know. We have to wait and see.
For me, like, being your homie, like, I think one of my proudest moments is like after you work with him, and then Ray, he dropped into one of our team meetings, and he was like, Dino, what's up? And like remembered you and started talking. I was like, oh, like I wanted to cry for you, man. Like, so I'm happy for you, Dino.
Yeah, it was absolutely great. He was so cool to work with, just so personable. We had highs and lows during the shoot. He's talking about the Shawn Michaels match was the day after Eddie Guerrero passed. Yeah. Got really heavy in that room. But then, a few minutes later, he's talking about Dom. You can just see that fatherhood pride gushing out. It was cool to see all the ends of the spectrum. Working with Ray was just an unbelievable experience.
And one thing it also mentioned to us too was that you had asked him to suit up for the day of the shoot, right?
Yes, Jeez. That's right.
Bautista.
What they should wear from the videos, and I wanted to lean hard into the old Lucha Libre videos from the 60s and the 70s. Just like out to dinner, on a date, they've got their masks on, they're just dressed to the nines, and Ray came in and nailed that look.
Wow.
He didn't quite get what we were doing, but he hit the look perfectly. When I explained it, like he was really happy that we were trying to honor Lucha Libre at the same time as we're honoring him. I think he was really proud to kind of be the face of Lucha Libre for the mode in the game.
Yeah, I think the thing that
one real quick thing. So in video games hit a different generation a lot of times too, especially for the generation, like we've seen this a lot of times with like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and stuff like that, where it's like the older music hits with the younger generation. Now younger generation loves the older music. It's the same way with like the Lucha Libre culture and the lifestyle of the Lucha Libre. They can be immortalized in video game format, especially nowadays because video games are so huge and it's one of the biggest, most popular forms of media out there. So that's really cool that they are doing something with Ray to bring that Lucha Libre culture and lifestyle and actually immortalize it inside a video game format like that. That is, I think that is actually really really cool right there.
What you said that I resonate with the most when playing through Showcase is that it has a lot of heart, right? Like there's just so much personality from Ray and the matches that we chose or you chose with Ray, right? So like it just comes through, and I'm so proud of everything you put together.
And thank you very much. Like I just think we got a really good list of matches here. We have championship victories, we have big feuds, we have Eddie Guerrero, Shawn Michaels, Batista, Undertaker. We've hit some good spots for Ray. I think we did.
Everybody loved working with Ray too in all his matches.
Before we go though, what's your favorite match in Showcase mode?
Oh man, that's so tough. I love them all the same, but a little bit equally. They're kind of like my kids. I think for me, it's not exactly the biggest match.
They worked a lot.
Like the Dolph Ziggler match. I think it's really fast paced. It's fun to play, and we definitely have an Eddie Guerrero match in there that I think everybody's really going to love.
Awesome. Well, Dino, thank you so much for joining us today to talk about Showcase mode.
Thank you very much for having me.
Everybody
have a good time.
I love
He
it.
hits it different, right?
It hits different, homie.
Oh yeah. All right, bye, Dino.
Take it easy.
Up next, we've got some folks chiming in to give us the lowdown on My Rise, the story-based mode of WWE 2K where you make choices to rise to the peak of WWE superstardom.
Can't
Here
wait
with
to
us
see
today,
this.
We have senior narrative designer Andrea Listenberger, senior story designer Chris Schroyer, and last but not least, story designer Quatemo Marquez. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's nice to
We're
be here.
excited to talk about My Rise.
Ow,
We
ow.
are too. There is so much we can get into with My Rise, but you all are providing us with the top 10 list breakdown of things players need to know. Take it away,
The
y'all.
big features.
Yeah, we are. I'm going to start with number one, which is one that I am perhaps most excited about. In My Rise, you can play in either WWE division. That's right. I'm talking about playing in the WWE Women's Division for the first time ever. We have a solo division.
Okay,
with our
solo. I was gonna say,
female
like, they're-
superstars, with unique content that separates it from the men's division. And I'm not talking about superficial stuff. I'm talking about storylines as unique as the characters in each division themselves.
So basically, 2K20's storyline. I mean, 2K20 was the first one to do it. It was a super corny storyline. It was a terrible storyline, but it was technically the first time that the females were represented in the story mode. So it's cool that they are actually getting, like, it's going to replay value. If you want to be, arguing that the women shouldn't have a storyline, what are they going to do? Replay value. That's the counter to that argument. Okay, seriously. Now we get a reason to go through it twice, and maybe there's going to be even more unlocks because of that. The replay value of going through both the male and the female, and going through both of those storylines. Hey, then you're getting double the VC, so you can unlock stuff from the store. You're getting possibly double the unlocks. Who knows? Maybe some of the fireworks or something, a Titantron or something like that is going to unlock in the female, run if you're doing the male side of things. And there you go. You got something for your entrances. You got more VC to unlock characters. You got, maybe even some more move sets and everything that you can end up using. Go through both storylines and check it all out before, I know that there's some people out there that get really, like up in arms about this stuff. All I see is more potential to unlock more things. So I think that's pretty cool that you get both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Number two, you'll be playing across all three brands. You'll learn from the best at the WWE Performance Center. Define
Very
what kind
cool.
of superstar you're going to be. Where you start your career really depends on the choices you make and how well you do in the ring. You'll have
I
the
like
chance
this.
to live
I like
your
this.
WWE Superstar fantasies on Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and you'll even have the ability to switch between all three brands along the course of your rise. Quadimo, what's next?
Speaking of building out your fantasy,
So if you win the Royal Rumble, then you should they're going to probably give you the whole opportunity. This feels very SmackDown versus Raw like of which brand or which championship do you want to actually go after? Do you just won the Royal Rumble or the Money in the Bank or something? Do you want to stay on Monday Night Raw and go for WWE Championship? I'm pretty sure it's been a while since I actually watched any of the live programming. I've been trying to keep up with it. It's just tough because streaming and video making. But you just won Money in the Bank or Royal Rumble or something. Which one do you want to go for at WrestleMania? Or if it's Money in the Bank, which one do you want to go for like right now? You can show up next week on that show and go for the championship. That's actually really cool. That's actually pretty damn awesome. If you ask me.
whether or not you start off as a hero,
The
or a
freedom
villain,
of
and
this
you're always
of the
at center
story,
of your story.
and not just having a linear story.
And if you always want to put a little bit of a twist on your own story, you could also switch side. You can, go bad or decide to choose different paths.
Ooh, that's really, really cool.
What about number 4?
So similar to how we could go backstage and like pick a fight with the face or heel backstage, but now it's like actually you can have the crowd booing or cheering you. That's super cool. So then you can actually customize however you want. So if you don't want to be the heel, you can go in there and be the babyface. If you want to be the heel, you can beat up all the babyface and be like, meh. I love that. I love that. That's, again, replayability on two different sides of two different stories and everything of like, that's technically 4 playthroughs you could do right there. Good and evil on 2 different male and female, storylines. That's awesome.
In My Rise, you can also choose between 4 different character backgrounds. Whether your character started off in MMA like Ronda Rousey, the Indies like Shotzi, maybe got a little football action in the pro athlete path like Roman Reigns, or an actor like The Miz, you get to decide your character's path. And that's really cool because each of those backgrounds has some unique story content and influences the path.
Wow, that's getting me thinking of the James Lewis character that I was bring.
Number 5, we have over 1,000 playable matches. That is 1,000.
Damn.
1, 3 zeros.
Next is number.
So that's 2,000 matches, depending on male or female, or is that 500 each? That's very vague right there. I'm thinking it's gonna be 500 matches on each male and female, and it adds up to 1,000 overall. Just to be realistic with this.
Number 6. Players can experience 9 unique My Rise arenas that they can unlock and use in their own custom matches and gameplay. So there are ones such as the Japan Hall in Mexico City.
What's your favorite?
Mine is definitely Mexico City. It's beautifully rendered. It looks amazing, and I love that.
I kind of love it. In the town
You never
square,
know
having
what's gonna
wrestling
happen
matches.
next.
That's actually really cool.
Just saying. No spoilers.
Number 7.
What about
My Rise
BCW?
has voiceover from over 30 WWE superstars, and that includes
Voiceover?
WWE legends like Shawn Michaels, Beth Phoenix, Edge, and of course, it always includes your favorites from today, like Sasha Banks, Seth Rollins. The list goes on.
That's awesome.
I love the voiceover, especially from some of the more smarmy superstars, because they definitely bring their own personalities to it.
Let's really hope we don't have another John Cena thing happen. If you know, you know.
Sami Zayn's fun to listen to. Sonya Deville, less than a reliable narrator, and Drew Gulak is a metric hoot and a half. So
Hoot
we
and a
got some
half.
good personalities reflected in our game.
A hoot and a half.
All right, number 8. My Rise is going to be packed with choices,
hoot and a half.
decisions that are going to
I like
inform
that.
your playthrough. And this is going to include things like rivalries, where you're going to make different decisions from the next
Oh my God! I want to make a crowd sign that says the champion, a hoot and a half. Okay, sorry.
person who's playing it. And you're going to have a totally unique, different experience just to yourself. So who you choose to go after, who you choose to spare, that stuff matters.
Next is number 9.
That WWE Championship could
really
shine
wanted
a
every
little
match to
more.
Feel like a live event.
Saying.
So we went about recording over 3,000 voice lines with your favorites like Saxton, Corey Graves, and Michael Cole.
Good,
We've got
good.
Their own My Rise commentary just for you.
Awesome. That's
Andrea, let's do the best for last.
Oh, the best for last? The best for number 10?
Yeah.
I could do this because this fact pretty much speaks for itself. My Rise, between the men's and women's division storylines, has over 50 hours of gameplay time.
wow.
Boom, mic drop. In the first part of the Ringside Report, we had Dino from Showcase on the show. Before he left, he had a
25 hours
question
each.
about My Rise.
It's a 50-50 split.
Hey, Team My Rise. Because I've been a
Who
little
knows?
busy with Showcase. So I'm just a little curious. Like, what kind of choices do I get to make in My Rise this year? Am I going to be able to go from a good guy to a bad guy? Can I chase some championships? Maybe I get to join a faction or something? What's the deal? Let me know.
Well, Dino, I think the big thing about My Rise is that, you know, if we had one guiding principle, it would be choice. Like, you have agency this year to decide
That's
where you
great.
start.
That's
you have
how it
agency
should
to
be.
decide if you're a protagonist or antagonist. You have agency even to decide the order in which you play these various storylines and challenges.
So before we
So they turned the story mode into an RPG. That's actually great for WWE storytelling, because WWE is like a giant RPG. If you think about it, like all the different choices that superstars make, they can come up with these different storylines. They can, all the face or the heel, the turn on somebody, the factions, all of it is RPG base. So yeah, to turn the story mode into an RPG and give all more player choice is always a great thing. Everything in this sounds too good to be true. I'm wondering what the hell is going to be wrong with it. I'm like, there's got to be something here. I mean, the roster so far. Okay, so we have a pin count that was rough, but they said they fixed it. And then the roster, people are like, it's kind of a rough roster, but there's been, I mean, that roster is actually super great. You know, if you put it against like all the people that have been let go or left WWE recently, that roster is awesome. To see that those names are, you know, as many names as there is still on that roster. I mean, you know, who knows? In the future, we might also have, you know, because there's a lot of legends that have signed legends contracts that have not appeared up in the game, and they're like, where's my character? You know, why did I sign the contract for? So again, we might see even more people in the future with the season pass and all that.
Close out, y'all. The three of you have been spending so much time solely focused on My Rise, but now that you're...
Oh, and also I should probably bring up the thing of the season pass wise. I know I keep stopping it. I know I keep pausing it. But the season pass, please, 2K, do not make it the season pass like 2K20. Give us actual like legends and new superstars. I know it takes a while to create them. Take your time to make the season pass a thing that is worth having, because I'm telling you, the more arcadey stuff, nobody really wants that in there. The majority, I should say, not nobody, but the majority of people do not want the arcade stuff. They want the people that they're seeing on TV. They want the people that are, you know, that have been in the ring or been with the company for years. They want to see those people in there before they want to see like a snake version of Randy Orton or a swamp person of, you know, Bray Wyatt or whatever. Like the Fiend was way cooler than the swamp version of Bray Wyatt. So that was, that's one thing with the DLC. Definitely I want to see more superstars than just like the Tron sets and all that stuff. Like give us arenas that are, you know, from historical times and all that.
Getting to spend time elsewhere. What other modes or areas of the game are you most excited to check out? And let's start with Quatemo.
I'm super excited for Showcase. I love Rey Mysterio. I love seeing Latinos out there, you know, doing the best, and I love especially seeing other Chicanos out there doing the best. So I'm excited to see him and get a sense of his natural, mysterious charisma.
Eddie with that hairdo, I love it.
Chris, how about you?
Oh, it has been years since I've been able to play it. The return of my GM.
The GM mode.
That's going to be the first thing I'm going to load up as soon as I get it day one. That's gotta
I don't know what I'm gonna do first thing. Probably.
And
yes, actually I do. Create my character.
Andrea.
Honestly, I'm just starting to bully my friends into getting their copies so that we can all get online and I could trash talk them and show them how it's done.
We'll see how the online works.
It's just online
I
play.
never
How
do
cool is
online
that?
stuff
So that wraps
in
it up
WWE
for
games.
Ringside
I just
Report
don't like the
episode
online stuff in
3.
WWE games.
Thank you to Dino Martino Zucconi from the Showcase team.
Dino.
And also, thank you to Andrea, Chris, and Quatemo for joining us from My Rise. If you missed episodes 1 and 2 on all things gameplay and MyGM, click the link below to check it out.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you all soon. And in the meantime, check us out on social media at WWE Game. Peace.
Bye.
Okay, so that is the Ringside Report number 3. We checked it out. We've seen the whole thing. WWE 2K22 is pre-orderable and preloadable, I think, right now too. Orderable and preloadable right now. So go and check it out. It looks like a great package deal. I kind of really want to pick up the deluxe edition for all the NWO stuff, because then you get even more stuff in it. So just like it's actual superstars instead of just, you know, the weird DLC like 2K20 had. So I think this one it's chocked full of a giant roster, lots of customization, lots of freedom of choice in it, lots of everything, game modes, and the graphics look better. It actually runs at 60 FPS in matches. That's a huge thing. That's a huge update that we've never had before on consoles. Not even the PC, actually. PC always ran at 30 FPS, I'm pretty sure too. So yeah, this is whether or not you want to get it on console and or PC and maybe mod stuff on PC. There is so much stuff that you can do with this. This is just a tool to let your wildest dreams go if you're a big giant, you know, wrestling fan overall. Because I mean, remember, there's always community creation. So even if you're not quite on the WWE train, if you catch my drift, you can still do that, the other stuff too. AW. But yeah, community creations, it's all there. You can do everything and anything. Also, hopefully we have some updates of like attires and Titantrons and such. I know that they wanted to do that. I don't know if they're going to do it with this game, but hopefully we see that stuff too show up. I would love to see, if somebody comes out with a different entrance music, boom, we get that. Or a different hairstyle, maybe we get that too. Yeah. Anyways, that's going to wrap up this one. Go and check out the rest of the YouTube channel for more Let's Talk, stream replays, and more. So I'm going to wrap it up here and say hit that like, the subscribe, the hit the bell, all that good stuff. But yes, the last ringside report I did huge numbers on the channel. Thank you for everyone who's checked out the last video. Hopefully this one also hits really well too. Yeah, just excited. We got 10 days I think left for this thing to launch, and yeah, we're gonna be going in hard on. I always do it every time there's a WWE game out. I always go in on it, and I might not do a launch night stream of this one though. I might actually take launch night to just create my character and get my moveset done and all that. Go in there, favorite all the moves on the moveset list, and create my character, figure out the face, morphing stuff and all that. But yeah, and also get my entrance made and all that. So that takes 4 hours for me to do. So yeah, go and check out WWE 2K22, and I'll probably see you on Twitch launch day. I don't think we're gonna do launch night. We're gonna probably do a launch day. Just this is a rare occasion where I don't do a launch night of it. And yeah, we'll see you there. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by, and as always, I will see you next time.